Your wife think of the show?
She loved the show. Yeah, she loved it. She's great because she's like, I love it. You know, it's cool. Yeah, but yeah, she did.
It's funny. Hers is ending, yours is starting.
I know, just timed out that way. It was definitely not a conscious decision at all. Just kind of, that's the way it happened.
Maybe she could guest star on your show.
Yeah, you know, I don't, you know, it's always a weird thing with us working together because you don't want to do something that really takes people out of the reality of the show. You know, you're trying to suspend disbelief all the time, and if you have in your head that, you know, oh, wait a second, they're married. You know, you got to choose your projects that you work together carefully.
You could always kill her off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good point.
I've seen the trailer. Looks really great. Can you talk about your character?
I play a character named Ryan Hardy. When you meet him, he's no longer working for the FBI. He's been gone for about 8 or 10 years, and you can see that he's kind of a mess. He's drinking too much. He's a man without much focus in his life. He has written a book about his experience hunting this serial killer, and at the top of the pilot, the serial killer escapes from jail, and they call me up and they say, listen, can you give us a hand? You know him better than anybody in terms of like getting him back. So reluctantly I sort of go back into the fold of the FBI. But you know, I'm afraid to sort of be back in that world. I think he's a character. Kevin Williamson said to me early on, the guy that created the show said to me early on, he's a guy who is oftentimes in his life surrounded by death. And I heard that and I thought, okay, well that's interesting. You know, I can sort of like run with that. And that's what you will see. And I think that part of what the arc is in terms of my character is that I will now get my life back in a strange sort of way. You know, the focus of my life, the most exciting point of my life is when I was hunting this guy.
Can you talk a little bit about your inspiration for the character? Like, were there any particular stories that you drew from?
Yeah, I was sitting with an FBI guy who told me that he had actually tracked and put away a serial killer. The guy had killed 40-something people or something like that. And it wasn't a case that, it was a case that just kind of landed on his desk. And he just put all of his focus into it. That's sort of different than the FBI guy who's a profiler. You know, we've heard that term a lot. Someone that studies at Quantico, stays at Quantico, and really tries to profile serial killers. I see my character more as he's a law enforcement. He's like just a guy. You know, his whole thing is not like a superior intellect. Joe Carroll has a superior intellect. His thing is instinct, and he has good instincts about people. And when I met this guy, I could tell that you know, the highlight of his life is when he was waking up every day and trying to bust this killer, and that things have not been that interesting to him since then. And that's kind of what I focused on.
What's the scariest horror film you've ever seen?
What?
The scariest horror film.
Scariest horror film? Oh, wow. That's a really good question. Scariest? Well, I'll tell you, one of the scariest things was Kira went to Sundance one year, and somebody handed her a DVD, and we didn't know anything about it, and we popped in the Blair Witch Project. And without knowing, you know, that it wasn't real, and I was like, I'm not gullible, you know, that we started watching this thing, and we were like, I know we were up alone in the country, and we were like, oh, shit. And I gotta say, that was scary. And I heard something out in the backyard, and I had to go out in the middle of the night you know, and that one definitely hit me.
Kevin Williamson had said you shot 2 episodes so far, so I'm just wondering how you're finding the...
No, just one.
Oh.
He lied.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
shot the pilot.
How you were anticipating the TV schedule transitioning from the movie world?
Well, look, movies are hard. I've shot a lot of movies where you work really, really hard. TV will be hard too. You know, certainly an hour is difficult. As I said, I've gotten a good secondhand sense of it from both seeing Kira on the closer, but also directing it. So I know the kind of hours that you have to put in, and I like to work. It's going to be good. If the material is good, it'll be fun.
Any plans to direct the following?
I don't have any plans to direct the following this season. I feel like directing yourself even harder. If nothing else, it's like there's no time to go and forget taking a nap or whatever you even get to whatever, taking a leak. I mean, it's hard. I haven't really spoken to the guys about it. Maybe down the road, we'll see.
Do you have to do anything to physically prepare for the role?
Sorry?
Physically prepare, anything you have to do?
For the part?
Yeah.
No, not really. The only thing is that there's a. You haven't seen the pilot? There's a. Without spoiling it, he's got a pretty serious physical impediment. So that's something that we have to kind of keep in mind every day when we're physically approaching it. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.